Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. I've been talking about how I grow in double shredded hardwood, so I'm going to show you how I set up a bed today with the double shredded hardwood, how I add in some blood meal or nitrogen to help it get set up, and just talk about the whole process. I want to start here. This is a bed of the double shredded hardwood that I grew in last year. I will cut in a video to show you how well the plants did. It was up a lot higher, so over the year it's kind of broken down, it's lower. And what I'm going to do is just refill it with some of the double shredded hardwood I showed you, add in some nitrogen, it's ready to go. You know, I think today is actually July 23rd. Things are growing extremely well. We're coming out of that crazy 115 degree heat index. We had almost 100 degree days. So much going on. These are raised beds that you can purchase, metal containers, any kind. I don't necessarily recommend the name that's on here, but there's no bottoms in here. That's a question I get all the time. There is no bottom in here, so the plant root systems can grow into the ground, but these are just filled with hardwood mulch. And this is a red beefsteak tomato plant doing extremely well, growing in really a soilless mix. The zucchini's doing well. Let's just see if there's anything in there. Now, there's no set way to do this. Growing in wood chips, growing in wood has been called all kinds of different things. Back to Eden Garden is really popular. I like to just say we're kind of copying the forest floor. We're basically taking the principles that you find over there. When trees fall, limbs fall, leaves fall, they decay. Plants grow in it, they love it. So this is a pile of hardwood that's gone through the machine one time, and I'm going to use it for mulch. It's too coarse to grow in. This is not what you want. You can see some finer shredded pieces in there. We want to get something that's really finely shredded. So if it's coarse and it looks like this, great for mulch, not good for growing in. We're not filling the raised beds with that. This is double shredded hardwood. Double shredded hardwood, triple shredded hardwood. It's called different things in different areas, but you want to eyeball it, and once you want it to look just like this. It is really well ground down. Lots of surface area, great for plant roots. It will break down easily, and I'll go through the whole setup to show you how you can grow in this. And this will become a no-dig garden because you'll just keep putting in more double shredded hardwood, and it will slowly give back to your plants. You'll have healthy plants, and you'll do a lot less work in your garden beds. And then another thing too, today is March 4th. The best way to do this is to really fill this up in September, October, November. Give it 6 months to set up, and then it's a little bit easier to grow in. The concern will be, which many of you will have and I've talked about before, is if you grow in hardwood, isn't it going to compete while it breaks down with the nitrogen for your plant? And yes, it's true, but it's not the hardwood itself. It's actually the soil microbiology digesting the hardwood that compete for nitrogen. So how we kind of get around that is we put in extra nitrogen, and we kind of feed the microbes and we feed our plants. So first year, it's a little bit more difficult to set up. In a perfect world, you would start this 6 months before you would plant in it. I will link a video of where I did a layered garden, a no-dig garden, similar principle. That was about 90 days ago. If you can, and you have time, try and set this up, give it 90 days to settle. But I'm going to plant in this pretty quickly, so I'll show you how to set it up for that. Why am I saying that? Because if you're doing this for the first time, don't do your whole garden like this. Do a couple of beds, try it out, apply these principles, and I think you'll be really excited about it because it's going to work, and you'll be doing more and more of this as your garden grows. And then we're going to come right over here and completely fill up this bed. So this is the bed I established last year, and I've really been practicing this over the last 4 years. When I had my community garden, I actually dug about 2 feet down. I put a foot of the shredded hardwood on the bottom and then just soil on top. Those plants did really well. In my other home, I was growing a lot in containers. And again, I didn't invent anything. This is a principle that's been used for hundreds of years. This is blood meal. This is a 12-0-0 fertilizer. It's all nitrogen. So for a bed that's already established, and again, it's not like 1 cup per square foot, just take a handful, just like that, and that's going across the old shredded hardwood. Not a lot, but enough to feed this soil biology, get the breakdown happening. The wood the microbes and the plants will share this. And then you just mix it in a couple of inches, and I would go all the way across. And then I'm going to come back now, fill the rest of it up, put a little bit of the blood meal on there, and then we'll go over to the brand new bed because we use this a little more heavily, and I'll show you the basic setup. And you can apply that to any type of container or raised bed you want to use. So this bed is set up. That's garlic growing in there that I planted, I think, back in November. And again, it's just a light scattering of blood meal across the top. You know, not a lot. And I'll work that in about 2 inches or so. That will set it up. There's, you know, a gap on the top because after I put my plants in, I'm going to come back with some more shredded hardwood and mulch on top of that. This will hold water like a sponge. You're going to have to water less. Your plants will like it. It's really works. And again, I want to stress, don't go and do this to your entire garden. You know, use the principles I'm going to teach you now and try it out, see how you like it. Going to come back at the end of the video, water this in with some fish emulsion. I'll talk about that. But let's go to the other bed that I'm setting up from scratch, and I'm going to be planting kale into it this month, and I'll talk about how you do that. I think it looks great. I'm actually going to plant peas in there along the fence line, and peas actually fix their own nitrogen, so they can go in pretty quickly into the double shredded hardwood. So this is the bed I was going to do, but I'm running out of the hardwood, so we're going to skip that bed. And what you want to do is, one, this is for open bottom raised beds. So the root systems of the bigger plants will grow into the earth, worms will come up, everything will mix together nicely. But if you're putting this down, say on grass or something like that, just drop cardboard down. I already did that, so most of the grass around here is killed off. So fill up your raised bed 1/3 of the way, halfway, with, I'm probably going to say it 1,000 times, with the double shredded hardwood. And this time we're going to put in a little heavier spread of the blood meal. And again, this is best done in the fall, 6 months before you would plant in it. Second best is 90 days before you plant in it. Third best would be 30 days. So I'm going to show you, the setup is the same for all of it. But for 30 days you may have to do a little bit more in keeping an eye on your plants and giving them more nitrogen, a water soluble form, which is going to be fish emulsion. But I'm getting this ready in 3 weeks because I'm going to be putting kale into here. So subscribe to my channel, I'll show you how I grow. And just kind of a highlight is that if we're going into brand new double shredded hardwood, and we would mix this in a good 2 to 4 inches, really mix the blood meal through. If we're going to plant in here for the first time, we're just going to make a big hole, and we can just drop in some soil in here. The root ball will go into the soil. That will help support it as the double shredded hardwood breaks down. So there's ways that you can kind of fudge dealing with brand new beds that are set up like this. I'll show you how to do all that. It really works, and I always recommend experiment, try something new in a garden because it's a lot of fun, and I think you'll be really impressed at how much money you save filling beds with the double shredded, how much this really holds moisture and solves the problem of having to water this frequently. And the plants really love it because this breaks down slowly, and everything your plant needs really is in the wood. And because there's so much surface area, this will break down slowly and regularly over time, slowly releasing everything your plants need over the growing season. So to give you a point of reference, this is a 2x6 raised bed, 12-inch sides. The other bed is 3 feet wide, 6 feet long too. So we put 2 heavier handfuls in the bottom, and that's really where you want the heavier stuff to go, is in the bottom. And on the top, just 2 handfuls. And this would get worked in a couple of inches too. Now the reason that we brought it all the way to the top is because this is brand new, and as it breaks down it's going to settle and drop down. So I just wanted more volume in here. Alright, so let me get to the fish emulsion, talk about that, and that's how I'm really setting up these beds to grow in the DSH. So this is the fish emulsion. It's a 5-1-1 NP and K, 5 nitrogen, 1 phosphorus, 1 potassium. And that's what we're going to water this in. And just to recap real quick, 6 months is best to set it up this way. 90 days is pretty good. and you can do it within 30 days. But the setup is the same. I'm doing this within 30 days. Also, because we put in blood meal, we're adding in the fish emulsion. There's a chance, and that's why you want to wait at least 30 days, is that this is going to heat up a little bit because we're adding a lot of nitrogen. So you got to wait at least 30 days. This is a 2-gallon container, and we're going to just take 2 gallons and just soak it in. And that's going to be plenty of nitrogen to set this all up. Leafy greens are going in here. They're going to love the nitrogen. If you want to subscribe, I'll show you how I plant and take care of this over the season. I also have a Amazon storefront, which is in the description. It'll link and it'll show you all these different fertilizers that I'm using. But just soak it in. Shredded hardwood is really lightweight. It's a lot easier to move this than it is soil. It's less expensive, holds water, and it really will slowly give back to your plants over the years, and this will be a no-dig garden. Oh, I didn't want to quite end right there. This is the bed that was already set up. All we're going to use is 1 gallon across here. You don't have to overdo it with the fish emulsion. And please, again, subscribe. If you think this guy's crazy growing in shredded hardwood, it's not going to work, or he's just jacking it up with nitrogen, which I am initially, I'll show you how this really works well. And I've already cut in to show you what grew here. That tomato did extremely well. The zucchini on the other side did well. And the peppers did okay. I think the peppers are going to do even better this year. And, you know, we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com.